Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. The last surfer getting out of the contest area, trying to sneak in a couple waves before the event starts. Here in Brazil for the Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, Uzike.com and net. Manny V here with Steve Action Jackson. Quarterfinal number 1 has started. Out in the water, Ben Player in red, PLC in yellow. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock and roll.
And here we have PLC kicking in this one, get things started here in quarterfinal number 1. Driving down the line, comes off the bottom, goes for a flip right off the bat, and
he's
uncharacteristically, Pierre unable to complete the maneuver.
Oh no, that's a first right there. Well, I mean, I went out there yesterday after the competition was over, and let me tell you, that whitewash right there on the inside is no joke. Even though it was 2 to 3 foot, that whitewash is coming in out of the deep and just unloading all of Mother Nature's raw power to the shallows of the sandbars, and a lot of power is behind those whitewash. So if you're not landing your maneuvers clean, you're going to probably struggle to hold on to your board and come out in front and complete your maneuvers.
And there you can see out in the water, Ben Player waiting patiently for something to come his way. Pierre on the board real quick, but an incomplete maneuver. So Pierre gets on the board first, but that's going to be a score he's going to want to replace sooner rather than later.
Quarterfinal, heat number 1, out in the water in the red jersey, Ben Player, and in yellow, PLC. Only one wave has been ridden. Again, 30-minute heat, 28 minutes. 28 minutes in this heat. Out of the 30 minutes remaining.
Bom dia.
Yes. I'm still waiting for the coffee to come up. I'm still waiting for the coffee to cruise into the commentators area so we can kickstart this whole thing. And you know what? Ben Player and PLC, they don't need me to have coffee. They're going to do their thing anyway. So that's it. Write it. BB.com. The media sponsor here at the Itacoatiara Pro has unleashed issue number 44. So go to rideitbb.com for the latest from the world of bodyboarding seen through the eyes of Elmo and the Ride It crew. Ben Player waiting patiently out in the water. Once again, the Itacoatiara Pro coming to you live from Brazil in some smaller conditions. 3-4 foot waves coming in. I think as the tide starts filling in, we're going to see a little bit more action, a little bit more pop in these waves as the tide comes in. We are coming down to the last day, the last heats of the Itacoatiara Pro. Manny V here with Steve Action Jackson. Here we go.
All right. You know what? While we have a little lull in the action out in the water, I'd like to throw a couple shout-outs. First, to my wife, who's back home in Copacabana, bom dia. And secondly, happy anniversary to PMBA, Port Macquarie Bodyboarding Association, celebrating their 25th anniversary yesterday. Founded in 1987 by Kathy and John Eppo, the proud parents of Mike Eppo Eppelston, the 1993 world champion. Congratulations to them for having the staying power and developing such a hotbed of talent in Australia. Port Macquarie considered one of the most important centers of bodyboarding in Australia.
In fact, it is the bodyboarding capital of Australia, and good on you, mates. Port Macquarie. All right, PLC looking for his second wave of the heat right here. We are on a man-on-man priority system, and it looks like it doesn't matter right now for these two guys because they're totally sitting on 2 separate peaks. I'm looking out the window, and they're probably about 300, 200 yards away from each other. Pierre on the southern or the northern side of the beach, and Ben Player far to the south. So it's going to be interesting how this pans out when these two guys are on 2 separate peaks. Who is on the better peak is what it comes down to.
And there you can see there's some swell lines rolling in. We have slightly bigger conditions this morning than definitely bigger than what we showed up to yesterday morning. A little more consistent than it was yesterday afternoon. If you were watching when these riders paddled out, a little bigger, a little more size on the sets. So something to do some work on.
All right, shout out to people who are tuned in from Lisbon, Portugal. Oh, we'll get back to you guys. All right, no, there we go. Claudio from Lisbon, Portugal. Shaper Gato from Peniche, Portugal is tuned in. Jordan from Avalon and the whole Avalon crew going for this guy in the red jersey, Ben Player, Greg Hart in Australia, and Jai Burton in Newcastle, Australia.
Yes, Ben Player hailing from Avalon in New South Wales, Australia. Here you can see the stats popping up on your screen for Ben Player, 33 years old, two-time world champion, 2005, 2007. He also was runner-up in 2006 right behind Jeff Hubbard. So BP would love to add another championship to his title, but first and foremost, he's got business to tend to here in Itacoatiara, looking for the event win.
PLC taking a look at this one. Again, another left for PLC. As you can see, the conditions aren't as big as they wanted, but he finds a nice little barrel right there, comes out, clean exit, and goes straight into a roll. That will be his high-scoring wave of the day. But look at this, Ben Player down the beach.
Nice little set rolling in. BP looking at this right, turns around, scratches into it. Here we go. Driving down the line, looking for speed, eyes on the oncoming section, gets a nice flip, gets it around, combos it with the roll.
Oh, wait a second.
And another roll.
Oh.
Wow, he tied those together flawlessly.
Oh,
flip
my.
to roll to roll. That's going to be a nice opening score for Ben Player.
It was almost an exact repeat of what we saw on his first wave yesterday in the early mornings. But yesterday we saw a barrel ride. Today we saw a backflip on this first outside maneuver, and he comes in with a couple more moves on the inside. Unbelievable. But first, let's take a look at PLC.
Here you can see PLC driving down the line. He tucks up into that little barrel. Nice barrel ride, comes out, punches the roll through the lip as it's about to close out on him. That was a fun-looking wave. Those are the kind of waves you wish for in the morning. Here you can see PLC, the 22-year-old Frenchman currently residing in Portugal. And that was a fun wave exchange. I enjoyed watching that, Manny.
Well, I mean, he rode that thing perfectly, knew how to draw his line, where to draw it, and was able to avoid the lip because it wasn't a massive barrel, but it was clean nonetheless, and he knew how to drive through that thing to be able to pull it off and come out with a roll at the end of that one. That was a great ride from PLC.
So, solid wave exchange there. You can see BP back out in the lineup, taking a look around. Here's a replay of his last wave.
All right, as you can see, Ben Player comes straight off the bottom, goes into a backflip, a nice, clean backflip, and lands perfectly, and not without hesitating, comes off the bottom into a roll and punches through the lip for another roll. That was solid. PLC on his first right-hander of the morning.
Here you see PLC dropping in, driving down the line, pumping for speed. High up on his goes for the air reverse and gets it around.
What? Oh, my. PLC making it look way too easy. PLC cranking a big air reverse right there on the small stuff. Again, there's a lot of punch in this wave right here, so they're going to be able to pull off maneuvers like you just saw Ben Player and PLC. What a wave exchange so far this morning.
And here's the replay of Pierre dropping in, driving off the bottom, sets up mid-face, driving for speed. And here he gets the section, and he hits it perfectly clean, gets the good rotation on this, gets it around. Good morning. Bon dia.
Bon dia. Or in Pierre's case, bonjour.
Bonjour. Comment allez-vous? All right, and you know what? We have scores dropping. Pierre on his wave prior to that got a 5.75. Ben Player with a 7 on first wave. BP up on his second wave.
Down the beach, Ben Player finds another nice right-hander, full speed ahead. Oh, nice carving. Reverse 360 right there. Turns around and goes for a roll. I don't know if they're going to score that as a complete maneuver on the last one, but that was amazing maneuver right there. Something you don't really see in competition, but this was clean. Look how much speed Ben Player had.
Here you can see him driving down the line. He goes down to the bottom, heads up to the top, gets a nice hard carving reverse 360 off the top, comes back down, and goes to combo the roll, and kind of rides it out. We'll have to see the judges.
That's why we're not judges.
Yeah,
but we can give our predictions on what the scores will come up. Look at this, PLC coming up.
PLC drops in on this nice-looking little right, goes for the flip off the section, and gets it around. A one-maneuver wave, but still a nice solid flip there from PLC. We're getting solid wave exchange from these two guys, and you know what? I wouldn't expect anything less from them.
Here we are, once again, looking at PLC's last wave. As you can see, he already has his eyes set on a section and goes straight into a backflip right there. PLC, that's his trademark maneuver, and he's able to do it on the small stuff and on giant stuff too. So PLC putting together a nice string of good scoring waves. Again, these are 30-minute quarterfinals, 12-wave maximum, which I think these guys might be hitting when it comes down to the wire. Top two waves will be scored, and the winner will advance on to the semifinal.
And Manny's got a moth on his shirt. He wanted to keep you company, Manny.
Look at this. Here you go. We have 19 minutes remaining in this heat, and here is where we're at currently out in the water. Look at that, 7.25, the highest scoring wave of the morning so far. But Ben Player, we're still waiting for his scores to drop on his last waves. Ant-Man in Montevale, what up? Yaniv tuned in again. Thank you. And here's a look at Dave Winchester coming up next.
There you can see Dave Winchester. He's been really consistent so far this season. There's a reason why he comes into this event as the #1 ranked bodyboarder on the IBA Grand Slam Series tour. And he's still alive in competition, marching forward. He's looking to add to that points lead.
Yeah, he's on a pretty good track right now to become the 2012 world champion, and he has yet to have one of those under his belt. We're still waiting for the score to drop for Ben Player. Ben Player's last wave.
It looked like he got a 3.5 on that last wave, so I'm going to say they didn't count that roll as a complete.
Okay.
So nice hard carving, reverse 360, but unfortunately spins on the face of a wave don't really score very high with the judges these days.
Look at this. Look at this.
BP up and riding, looking for another opportunity. Driving on this left. Gets a nice air reverse.
Nice.
And gets it around in the white water.
That was amazing. I'm telling you guys that these air reverses that PLC and Ben Player are doing are some of the hardest maneuvers that you can do out here in these conditions. Not only because it's small, but because you need the most speed you can have and be able to pull it off. Once again, let's take a look.
Here you can see BP dropping in, drives off the bottom, eyes up the section, hits it perfectly. A little slow getting the rotation around, but the bounce on the landing got it around for him clean. Nice air reverse there. It just goes to show, even though the conditions are a little smaller out there, still some punchy little bowl sections to launch off of. We were seeing lots of inverts and flips yesterday. Here already in this first heat, we're seeing air reverses, flips. Good times out there in the water. And if you're watching, good viewing. This is what bodyboarding is all about. Even in small to mid-range waves, you can really boost if you eye up the section and hit it properly.
If you've been watching the live feed and watching the highlights, you've pretty much seen the entire spectrum of bodyboarding. In the early rounds, in the trial rounds, we had some heavy, stormy beach break conditions. I mean, I don't think anybody would be out there free surfing, but we had a contest in it, and a lot of riders went all out in those early rounds. Now, coming towards the end, we unfortunately have seen some smaller conditions here at Itacoatiara, but the riders have to pull out all their bag of tricks to be able to pull off a win here in any conditions. And in this case, it's 3 to 4 foot slide offshore. Here we go.
PLC up and riding, trying to tuck into the little barrel, and that's going to close out, so he's going to duck out and head back to the lineup.
Oh, my. Ben Player, I just saw the scores drop for his last wave. It came in for that big reverse off the top. You don't see it on your screen yet. Just keep your eyes on. There it is, an 8.5.
8.5 for that big air revo from Ben Player. And here you can see a set coming in. Ben paddling over to get into position, and he's up and riding on the right.
Here he goes, bottom turning, nice clean face. What's he going to do? Maintains his speed, goes look for a nice invert at the end of that one, and that's going to be a one maneuver wave for Ben Player on that one. Clean conditions here today. Unfortunately, a little smaller on the small side. We all would love to see these guys go big, but now we have something we can all relate to when we go to our own home break and see how it should be done. Ben Player dropping in.
There you see Ben catches a little speed hop, but resets his line, drives for speed. And, again, looking down the line for that section, and he hits it, tweaks it. Nice smooth landing. Ben Player showing his experience out in the water, showing what he's got. And There we have a nice little panoramic scene of the lineup. Our riders back out there waiting for the next round of sets to come in. To touch on what Manny was talking about, we've seen just about everything here. There you can see one of the competitors stretching out, getting ready for his heat. We've seen everything from 10 to 12 foot pounding closeout shore break to some really punchy, playful 2 to 3 foot bowls out here. Pretty broad spectrum.
Oh, look at those yellow hot pants.
Manny is obsessed with the Speedos down here.
All right, look at this. Out the back, we have Ben Player taking off on this little whitewash inside wave, but was able to get over that hump and find the inside section down the beach. A nice move right there. Nice flip. Comes into a roll right there. Ben Player, wow. He is on fire and almost untouchable right now unless PLC can find an 8.26 ride. So PLC, he has 13 minutes to go. I would wait. I would probably even go where Ben Player is at because it looks like Ben Player is picking off some nice gems over there. So another look at Ben Player's wave.
Yeah, here you can see him dropping in, holding a high line, drops down, gains as much speed as possible. Bottom turns, heads up to the top, gets nice projection on the flip, lands towards the top of the wave, but able to get it around. You're going to see he resets his line and combos it with the roll on the inside. Ben Player looking really strong so far this morning. Currently has the lead with a little over 13 minutes remaining. And you have to think that even though his focus is on the event, where he's at, the heat he's in right now, in the back of the head, he's got to be thinking he can make up some pretty decent ground in the point standings. This is an opportunity to take advantage of.
Right now, the current situation is 13 minutes remaining in quarterfinal number 1. Ben Player having a commanding lead right now. PLC is behind the 8 ball. Literally, he needs an 8.26 to come out on top of this heat and move on to the semifinals. Again, quarterfinals, one rider will advance on to the semifinals, one step closer to the finals, and that right now will be determined between Ben Player or PLC. PLC kicking in hard into this left-hander. Look at this one.
There you can see PLC dropping down the bottom.
Oh!
Big flip. That's PLC textbook.
Wait a second. Can he pull it off?
And
that's not going to help if he's not going to be able to pull it off. PLC going big but unable to stick that gigantic backflip on the left-hander, and that's not going to help him. If he would have pulled that off, definitely in the 8-point range. Look again at his projection. Oh, doctor.
PLC driving down the line, lots of speed. Great projection. Look at the separation from the wave he gets. But coming down, we lost sight of him in the whitewater, and it looked like he just wasn't able to get it around. The whitewater caught him, and an incomplete maneuver.
Oh, my. 1.88 is what he's going to get on that wave. And, again, a 1 point can is if he would have pulled it off, it could have been an 8.26 easily. So he's got to cool, back out, calm down, compose himself, and realize there's 11 minutes remaining. So there has been some sets rolling in pretty consistently, so he should come back firing and wait for that next big wave. Dave Winchester in the red jersey making his way down to the water's edge. He's coming up next in heat number 2 of the quarterfinals against the Brazilian contest machine and former world champion Uri Valadão.
Yes, Uri coming into this event ranked 24th on the Grand Slam Series point standings. He'd like to probably move up a little bit, I'm thinking, from that position. But first he's got to get past Dave Winchester out in the water. And for those of you at home who have been listening to me and Manny talk about we were waiting for coffee, coffee has arrived.
Yes.
Or as they say here in Brazil, cafezinho.
Cafezinho.
Cafezinho, a little coffee.
Bom dia, como vai? Tudo bem? Obrigado. Here we are for the Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, Uzeke.com, and Net. Manny V here with Steve Action Jackson, live action, quarterfinal number 1, PLC in the yellow jersey, and Ben Player in the red jersey. 10 minutes remaining. Ben Player leading the charge with a 15.5, a combination of his 7 and 8.5. PLC is now looking for a 5.26 to get into that first place spot and advance on to the semifinals. This is it, people. 10 minutes remaining. Semifinals and finals will go down today. You will see the Itacoatiara winner being crowned today at the end of the finals. So we have about 4 or 5 hours of live bodyboarding action here in the beautiful beaches of Brazil. This place is amazing. Uri Valadao, this is his first time to this beach, even though he's from Brazil.
Yes, first time here to Itacoatiara, but he is from the northeast of Brazil. He comes to us from Bahia. He seems to be enjoying his time down here, though. We've seen him cruising the beach. We've seen him out in the water for free surfs. And here he is getting ready to hit the water for quarterfinal number 2.
All right, you saw the security guard back there. I got to give props to the Brazilians. All the security guards are dressed up in these matrix suits, and it looks pretty sick when you look around, and these guys mean business. They're about 6 foot tall, 400 pounds, and they won't let anybody in unless you're wearing the right wristband. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in. Goro in Japan, Henry Crinola, Caxias, Portugal, Zé Miguel. What's up, dog? Ryan in Coolangatta. Bailey tuned in Sydney. It's finally stopped raining in Sydney, so glad you tuned in for some nice sunny conditions here in Brazil. And coming in from Bordeaux, bonjour to Frederic. Finn, again from the Sunshine Coast. And the final, brother, I don't know when that's going to go on. Just stay tuned. We're going to have the quarterfinals and semifinals coming in all day long. Liam, still tuning in from Lennox Head, Australia. Kevin has been there from day one in Perth. Jordan, what up? We need Benny. He's going for Benny. That's what he's watching for right here. 8 minutes remaining PLC. Can he find that 8.626 in the last 8 minutes? We will see. Taking a look at this one, PLC. This thing could be forming up. And yes, he turns around and he's going.
Here we have him dropping in, driving down the line. Again, pumping for as much speed as possible, looking for that big section.
Oh!
There you have it. There he gets the flip around and combos it with the roll as well. And right behind him, Ben Player up and riding.
Oh, Ben Player sneaks out of that one. He knows he was way too deep to come down the line and find a nice clean section, so he kicks out of that, which is smart because he's still able to get back to the lineup first before PLC and claim that priority once again.
And there you could see for a moment it looked like we were going to have a little bit of a paddle battle, but Ben Player ahead of PLC. Here's the replay of PLC's last wave. PLC driving down the line again. There you see he eyeing up that section, gets a clean spot to hit off of, gets good projection, gets the flip around, and as soon as he resets his rail, looks at the oncoming section, hits the roll. Nice combination there for Pierre-Louis Costas, and he'll head back out to the lineup while he waits for the score to drop on that one. That should be a pretty solid score for Pierre.
These guys are like chess players out here. Not only are they thinking about the one move, but they're thinking about 2 or 3 moves ahead to figure out if they can pull off a checkmate on their fellow competitor out in the water.
Yes, for those of you watching the live webcast, if you watch the riders carefully, as they're paddling into the wave, they're already looking down the line, eyeing up potential sections to hit. And as soon as they come out of a maneuver, eyes forward, looking down the line, looking for the next spot to hit off of. So anticipation of what's ahead, very important for these riders out in the water.
Wow, what a great shot. Dave Winchester and the beautiful background here in Itacoatiara. This place is absolutely amazing. I was walking down the beach yesterday afternoon, and it looked like a fairy tale setting out in the water. Thank you, Hobson, for the coffee, hooking it up here this morning. Dave Winchester in the red jersey will be coming up in quarterfinal number 2 against the Brazilian contest machine, Uri Valadao. Dave Winchester, he's feeling pretty nice. He's feeling pretty nice right now.
Yes, Dave, all concentration on this event. But once we get clear of this event, Dave is actually one of the riders selected to be in the Shark Island Challenge coming up in Australia. We're going to be going back into the secondary window for the Shark Island Challenge. We're going to see guys like Dave Winchester, Jared Houston, Ben Player, who's out in the water right now. All these guys are going to be converging in Cronulla for Shark Island, one of the heaviest contests in the world. So something to stay tuned for. IBAWorldTour.com. Go there for all the information. Be sure to check out the heat draw. It's going to be an exciting event, as always. Always one of the heavier events in the world of bodyboarding.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it just got word from our technical guys, and if you are watching the live feed or if you cannot see the live feed, there is a little gear, a little options button on the bottom of your screen. Click on that. There will always be at least one live stream available. We are always working to give you 2 choices, one for your phone and one for your laptop. Either way, you will be able to see the live feed. Just go down to that little options button. It looks like a little gear. Click on that, and you should be set to go. So if you have any issues, that's where you find your resolution. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Manny V here with Steve Action Jackson. bringing you the live feed from the Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride. Uzeke.com and Jackson. We're coming down to the last 5 minutes of this heat. Quarterfinal number 1, Ben Player in first place. PLC looking for an 8.26.
Plenty of time, definitely an attainable score. We've seen Pierre nail flips that have scored that easily. All it takes is one good wave and things could definitely change. We usually see a mad scramble in the end of heats, riders going for that last-ditch effort, and some wave exchanges between the leader and the chaser. So we'll see what happens. Again, a little over 4 minutes remaining. There you can see Uri Valadown making his way down to the beach, getting ready to hit the water in the next quarterfinal coming up.
Well, the riders are allowed to paddle out into the water at the 5-minute mark to get in the water, get ready, get situated, and when the horn rings, there's like a 30-second delay before the heat starts. Another horn will sound, and that's when the actual heat will start. So these guys can paddle out at the 5-minute horn, relax, get out there, get composed, and then we should be ready to rock as soon as that second horn sounds. Now, Uri Valadown touching the warm waters here in Itacoatiara. And look at that wedger down the beach. Man.
Manny, I would love to just bow out of here, go grab my board and fins, and hit the water. Some fun little waves coming in.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you see these fun little waves coming in here. Plus, you have to keep in mind the water temperature is like 75 degrees Fahrenheit right now. I mean, you see some guys wearing spring suits and wetsuits, but for those of us who come from colder water climates, this is trunkable. I mean, board shorts and a rash guard, or even just going bareback. It's so enjoyable to be out there in the warm waters here in Brazil.
You're coming from New Jersey, so I'm pretty sure you don't even have a wetsuit in your gear here in Brazil. And if you do, I'm going to find it and tear it up with a razor blade. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. 2 minutes, 50 seconds out in the water. Quarterfinal number 1. Ben Player looks like he may be moving on to the semifinals. That is, unless PLC, your current world champion in the yellow jersey, can find a ride, a wave that will come in at a 8.26. And right now, priority is in Ben Player's hand. Ben Player taking a look. PLC knows there's not much option, so he takes a look, pulls back the priority system.
I don't know if you've noticed, but Manny was talking about how at the beginning of this heat, these two were separate, riding different peaks. Now with about 2 minutes remaining and Ben Player in the lead, Pierre chasing, these two have come together. They're pretty much shadowing each other out there in the water right now. Things getting a little intense out there, I'm sure, with time running down, 2 minutes remaining, and Pierre in need of an 8.26. We'll probably see a little paddle strategy going on out in the water on this one from here on out.
Look at PLC looking down on his board thinking, what should I do? Should I paddle away from Ben Player or should I stay here and just wait? If I was PLC, I would move down the beach, find another peak, so the priority will not be affecting my wave choice. All of Avalon, all of Molinvale, all of Australia is looking right now for the last 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining to see if their very own Ben Player will advance on to the semifinals. Pasco in Molinvale is definitely watching and crossing his fingers to see his local boy Ben Player advance on. Tom tuning in from Cardiff, what up? We need more Californians tuning in. Eric in Cabo Verde wants to know, where is camera 2? Camera 2 has been one of the favorite cameras yesterday, and when the sun comes out, Eric, you will see camera 2 being turned on and giving you what you like to see. Alistair tuned in from the UK. Simon in South Africa. Brew, thank you all for tuning in. This is the Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, Uzeke.com and Net. Net has been Net has been on it for our live streaming.
Here we go. 40 seconds remaining in the heat. PLC up and riding. Needs an 8.26.
Driving
down the line. Looking for a section. Big flip. Gets it around and comes through the white water. Will that be enough? There you can see. Throws his fist in the air claiming.
Wait a second.
Up and riding.
Ben Player answering back with a little cover-up of his own. Can he come out of that? No. Ben Player's wave exchange there. Not the better one, but PLC's big backflip. Will that be an 8.26? I don't know, man. I don't want to say it was. It was just, shoot. You know what? Let's just take another look. Let's see what you think.
Here you can see PLC dropping in, drops down to the bottom, driving for speed, comes up from the bottom, projects off that section.
Oh,
a big
man.
flip. Look at that, Manny. Unreal. And gets it around, comes out through the white water, and we'll have to wait and see. The heat has ended.
No.
We're waiting for the score to drop.
Woo!
Like I was saying, down to the wire.